the power of the pause, creating space between the trigger and the spiral. So, why is that important? Well, it has to do with responding versus reacting. Many of us do not like to react. I would assume that 100% of people out there would rather not react. They would rather take the time to do a pause, check in with their body, something in order to stop for a moment and then respond. And it's really good to understand that we don't have to respond right away, even when we're face to face with somebody. We can still take a pause and ask them for some time to process what they said to us. And again, if it's like a text or an email, of course we can take time as long as it's not something that's really urgent and has to be done. We can take an hour, a couple hours, or maybe even a day to respond back. There is nothing that says you have to respond right away. And sometimes I think we need to remember that. So again, we're in triggers and patterns in an area of depression, understanding my lows. So when a trigger hits, it's natural to react fast. Maybe you shut down, lash out, or fall into negative thoughts without even realizing it. That's a reaction. So reactions are automatic. They're survival based, often fueled by your nervous system. Many of these reactions were helpful in our childhood, right? Depending on whatever environment that we were raised in, if it wasn't that healthy, if it was maybe one of the attachment theories that are more negative, then we are going to have more reactions. And usually these are very strongly based in emotion. And it takes time to kind of, I like to say, disassociate from our past childhood issues that occurred or the way we survived during that time and into more of a healthier setting for us of where we want to be now. And that is the responding area. That's where we want to be. But here's the good news. You can practice responding instead. Responding means slowing down, noticing what's happening, and choosing a gentler action. A lot of times, this is checking in with our bodies, somatic stuff. And that is really the first step. Where do I feel that very strong emotion and that very strong reaction in my body? So in this episode, we'll explore the difference between reacting and responding and how even the smallest pause can change the way you move through a low. So where do we go? Well, what reacting looks like. Reacting is automatic, often immediate. Withdrawing suddenly after a triggering comment, snapping in anger without knowing why, and spiraling into I'm worthless after a mistake. Reactions aren't bad, they're your nervous system trying to protect you, but they often deepen the low instead of easing it. And of course, our reactions or the way we respond is all on us. Whatever the other person is doing in the conversation, that is on them, and they get to choose their behaviors. And of course, we get to choose our own behaviors. So here's a gentle reminder. Reacting means my body is doing its best to protect me, even if it feels unhelpful. So where do we go from here? Well, what responding looks like. The more positive aspects of being in a conversation with somebody, whether that's person, text, or emails. So responding means creating space. So you take a deep breath before you answer. You name the feeling. I feel rejected right now. And of course, you don't have to name it out loud. We can do this in our head because somebody may not be asking us what we're feeling at the moment. They're just waiting for an answer. Pausing before you send that text or make that decision. So response shifts the energy from autopilot to awareness, giving you a chance to choose something different. And I know I mentioned in-person conversations, text, and email, but this goes for social media as well. When we react to a post or to somebody's comment on one of our posts that says more about us than it does about them. If we take the emotion out of it, give it a few, we might come up with a different response to their post, or no response at all in the end. So here's a reframe for you. Responding doesn't mean I stop feeling, it means I meet the feeling with care. Where do we go from here? Well, we're going to use simple tools to shift from reaction to response. So pause and breathe. Even one slow inhale and exhale can reset your nervous system. Name it. Say to yourself, is this shame or is this anger? And choose a micro response. Instead of spiraling, choose something gentle. Step outside, drink some water, send a safe text. You don't have to get it right. The act of pausing is always already progress. And of course, if the pause and breathe doesn't work, or the naming it doesn't work, maybe it's because we haven't started at the very beginning. And this is what I tell a lot of my clients is, are you feeling the emotion in your body first? And I know we've had a previous videos on this. So if you're angry, or you have anxiety or depression, or however you're feeling and you're wanting to react, where do we feel it in our body, right? Our stomach, our hands, our arms, our face, our eyes, feet, our legs. And if we start to feel it, that is our clue to pause, right? We don't have to get to the point where we're really feeling it in our body and we're just reacting and we can't pause because now we've gone too far. So here is an anchor thought for you. I can't always stop the trigger, but I can slow down my response. So here we are at the end. Let's recap and wrap up. Reclaiming choice. Triggers may always show up, but how you respond to them can change. By learning to pause, name, and choose, you are building resilience and you reduce the spiral's gap. In our final episode for the area of trigger and patterns, we'll talk about building a safety net for triggers, practical supports you can set up for yourself so that when lows come, you don't have to face them alone. So here's the comment section. Comment on anything of whether you respond versus do you react, anything on this video, anything to do with triggers and patterns, your depression, or really any heavy emotion that you may be going through. And if you are having a hard time knowing what to come up with for a comment, here's a question for you. The majority of the time, do you respond or do you react? So remember, every pause, every gentle response is proof that you are growing. So if this video resonated with you today, take a breath before you go, let what you heard settle in. You're not alone on this journey, and you don't have to do it all at once. If you're feeling it, like this video so more people can find it, subscribe for new content every day of every week, and here we do tiny steps, real talk, and honest healing. And if you made it this far, you get to hear about the journals and the children's books that I have created. The journals really go hand in hand with these videos to help increase healthier behaviors, decrease unhealthier behaviors, and really maybe help us become aware of some areas of our life that we do need to make those positive changes. There's an anxiety journal, a self-love, self-discipline, self-discovery journal, and a beach-themed journal. And then there's a kid's book, Luna and Brave and the Lion, where your kid gets to learn about bravery, courage, and a spark within. And then at the end, there are worksheets for them where then they get to write down what is their own bravery, their own courage, and their own spark, truly to help them understand that it does come within us and we have what it takes to push through hard things in life. And then there's a kid's workbook where they get to learn about where their emotions are showing up in their body and what emotions are the strongest for them. Also, they get to write down a negative thought and come up with some more positive thoughts and other pages in the workbook. And again, I would just like to thank you for watching this video and taking the time out of your day, and I hope you have a great day.